Mike T, how confident are you in Dak having a bounce-back season?
Very confident. I got to work with Brian Schottenheimer, the current offensive coordinator of Dallas, back in the Jets. I'm not sure if you guys realize, but we were also on Hard Knocks back in 2010. But anyway, they will be a lot more conservative and risk adverse, and they have a championship defense, guys. And this stat is remarkable. Dak threw 17 interceptions. That led the league. Their opponents started at the 40-yard line, meaning that they only had to go 40 yards to score a touchdown after those interceptions. If they just cut that in half and rely on this championship defense, they will be really, really hard to beat. So I think what we saw last year was aberrational. And let's give Mike McCarthy some credit. He saw the direction they were going. He moved on from Kellen Moore, promoted Brian Schottenheimer, and I think they're going to be much more difficult to beat this year.
Okay, Bill, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, interception rate for Dak in his career was below 2% before last season. Last year, almost 4%, more than doubled. That's just not going to happen again. He had 3 picks that hit his receivers in the hands and turned into picks. That's just not going to happen year after year. But I do think the numbers for Dak are going to be down because the Cowboys, like Mike said, are not going to throw the ball as much. And I think they're going to play slower than they did in 2021 and 2022. I think they want to keep that defense fresher as the season goes along. So not going to have, the 5,000-yard season, but I think the interceptions will come down and Dak will still be a very valuable player for the Cowboys.
Valuable, maybe a little less responsibility on his shoulders day in, day out. So, Kimberly, what are the realistic expectations for the Cowboys this year?
Well, for Jerry Jones, it's to win a Super Bowl, isn't it? No, honestly, realistically, just get to the NFC title game. Don't do that.
Okay.
Because the roster as it is, if everybody stays healthy, they have a good enough team just to get there. But when you talk about the Dak and the slowing down of the offense and the not being conservative, every other team is thinking about how can we score points in a hurry? How do we get in the end zone at a record clip? And Mike McCarthy's like, all right, let's take our time. Let's go real slow. Which, listen, they won 12 games last season, so clearly they're doing something right. If it works, it works. Who cares how they get to the Super Bowl, how they win it? If you're not scoring 45 points, you're scoring 21, but you're winning games, that's great. But every other team, when you look at some of these offenses, these QBs, they get down the field, they score touchdowns very quickly. So I'll be interested to see how the play calling situation works out.
If it works, he's a genius. If it doesn't work, watch out in Dallas. So, Mike, in your mind, what are the realistic expectations for this team?
This team can get to the Super Bowl. They had San Francisco on the ropes last year in the playoffs until Dak threw that second bad interception in the first half. They beat Philly last year. Granted, that was without Jalen Hurts. But again, in a one-game season, they have, in my opinion, the best non-quarterback in all of football in Micah Parsons, and he single-handedly can win a playoff game. Do I think they can beat the Eagles 4 out of 7? That would be a heavy lift. But in a one-game season, they absolutely can win another postseason game or two and get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they have the talent. Bill, final word.
They have to win the NFC East and be the top seed in the NFC for them to get as far as I think we're talking about here. And that's not out of the realm of possibility. The Eagles lost 5 starters on defense, lost both coordinators. They were a very healthy team last year. Going to be tough for them to be as good as they were in 2022. But you get to the postseason, you got to win 3, maybe 4 games. Do we have faith in Mike McCarthy to pull that off without some crazy final play of the game?
That is so interesting. That's so interesting because you say they have to win the division in order to get as far as we think. But if the roster on paper, and as Mike said, if Mike McCarthy is good at his job, they should be able to get as far with this talent, regardless of whether they finish first or second in the division. So the fact that we're even saying, do you think that the Cowboys can win 3 or 4 games in a row? Like that, we shouldn't be talking about the Cowboys like that. Yeah. They are too talented a roster for us to have any doubts. We should come into the season and be like, Cowboys, Dak Prescott, this is the year they do it. And every year you have to couch it because every year the Cowboys find a different way to fall short.
So no more they should, just now they will.
Guys, just win the damn Super Bowl for Jerry.
No thanks.
Sorry.
There are massive expectations, and they fall short.
And I agree with you. I really think it's Super Bowl or bust for the Jets. But let's just even put it in the AFC East. Because we were thinking about this before the show. Bill, I want to ask you, is it more likely the Jets will finish first or last in what really could be a stacked AFC East?
You're going to get me.
Who's going to hate you? Which AFC East team is going to hate you more?
Yeah, just
I
wondering.
got to go with last. This team was in
Wow.
last place
Oh.
last year, and they upgraded the quarterback. Of course, that's the most important thing in football. But like we talked about, the tackles are a major concern. The defense is not going to be as healthy as it was when it was great, of course, in 2022. We know that schedule to begin the season is brutal for the New York Jets. And I just think the other teams in this division have a lot of additions they made this offseason that are exciting. The Bills, more about getting healthy than anything else, but they were so banged up last year, including Josh Allen. The Patriots add Bill O'Brien to fix that offense. And the Dolphins add Vic Fangio and Jalen Ramsey, who was maybe the second best player on a Super Bowl team 2 years ago, and is suddenly now chopped liver. He's great. He's a major addition to that roster. So I think we've talked a lot about the Jets. I think they are going to be in contention. But if I have to pick first or last, I think I pick last.
Wow. Mike T, what do you pick? First or last in the AFC East for these Jets?
I'm going to go first. I mean, I understand Bill's points, but on their best day, they could be really, really hard to beat, especially if Breece Hall comes back healthy and Garrett Wilson's the focal point of the offense because he's a true difference maker. If it's more about Wilson and Hall and less about Randall Cobb, I think they have a real shot.
Okay, Kimberly.
Here's the thing. You are talking to somebody who has like PTSD from being on this beat. Like I have seen the Jets. I have seen the dark days. So when you tell me the Jets have Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, oh, they just happen to get a quarterback who's a future Hall of Famer and Aaron Rodgers, and they might finish last. No, I have seen the dark times. I feel like if you look at the Jets, we literally have seen how this roster has improved. Yes, they've had offseason injuries already, which are key, but I don't understand why I just think it's the same old Jets thing. I think everybody's just like, oh, there's no way that the Jets could actually pull this off and this Aaron Rodgers thing works. And maybe I can't believe I'm just the positive like Pollyanna today after covering this team for so long. But when you look at the Dolphins, you literally are saying, well, if Tua learns to fall properly, the Dolphins are the scariest team.
It'll be
like
fine.
this is what we are literally. Quarterback is everything, and to me, the Jets almost made the playoffs last year with Mike White and Zach Wilson just sitting around. Right now, they have Aaron Rodgers. They have done the major upgrade that's needed. Will they make the Super Bowl? I don't know. Time will tell. But to think that this team would fall all the way to fourth based on the acquisitions and the Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't know, guys. I just can't be that negative today.
But
You're going through it. It's like she's living her therapy session right here on the show.
I have seen the sad, destitute times at Florham Park. Like, man, things are up and up there. Like, I just can't see it.
There's no fall happening, though. They were already in last place. It's not like this is the Rams where they go out and trade for Matthew Stafford. If you said the Rams were going to finish last that year, that would have been crazy. The Jets were already in last place with a dominant defense. What are the chances that defense plays better this year than it did last year? That's the thing I'm worried about.
Mike, go ahead.
But if Aaron Rodgers just plays middle of the road, that's a massive improvement over the quarterback play. And then going back to Kimberly's point about Tua, if there is a question mark about the Dolphins, it's right tackle, which is Tua's blind side as a left-handed quarterback. So while the Jets have concern at offensive line, so do the Dolphins, and it's going to be fascinating to see how that plays out.
Executives and coaches and scouts and players, they rank the top 10 tight ends in the NFL. No surprise. Travis Kelce, number one. George Kittle, Mark Andrews right behind him. A pair of NFC East players round out the top 5. Dallas Goedert with the Eagles. Darren Waller with the Giants. So not bad there. But let's talk about Mahomes, Kelce. Look, that duo, we know they're incredible, but it got us thinking about the quarterback and receiving duo that is the best after the Chiefs. Receiving duo. So it doesn't have to be a tight end. Who do you think?
Oh, if it's not Mahomes or Kelce, to me it's obviously going to be Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. To me, Jamar Chase is a human highlight reel. And what Mahomes and Kelce give you are those like jaw-dropping, like, whoa, how do they do that? Jamar Chase, that connection with his college QB, like, they are special. I've covered a lot of Bengals games. They're spicy.
Yeah.
They are fun to watch.
Yeah, they're going to be great for a long time. Bill, who you got?
Who do you have, Bill?
I'll go off the board a bit. I will go with Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill. We're talking about the connection here. And last year, when Tua Tagovailoa was on the football field, Tyreek Hill averaged more yards per route run, so just the average number of yards he had every time he ran a route, than anybody in football since 2008. More than Travis Kelce, more than Jamar Chase, more than anybody over that time frame. I think Tyreek Hill is an immediate difference maker. We saw him win games for the Dolphins last year with that Ravens comeback as a classic example. I think that connection was incredible for the Dolphins.
Spicy right there. A little difference. All right, Mike T, who you got?
Yeah, as the tiebreaker, I'm going with Kimberly. I'm going to take the guy that has 168 catches and 22 touchdowns in Jamar Chase in his first 2 years. Him and Joe Burrow were the best in college at LSU. They've been the best in the NFL over the last couple of years, and there's no signs of it slowing down. And what makes Jamar Chase so great is you know it's coming. He gets doubled so much, and he's still unstoppable. He's fast. He's a great route runner. He has great hands. He has great jumping ability, and Joe Burrow has accuracy and arm strength. And I think 5 years from now, they'll still be the best two in terms of they're young and they're only going to get better.
Okay, so Bill zagged a little bit there with Tua.
I liked it. I
like it too.
Keep
I like
us
it
on
too.
our toes,
What do you
Bill.
think the Dolphins' ceiling is if these two guys, if Tua stays healthy?
So look, I know I made the comment earlier about Tua having to learn how to fall in order for the Dolphins to be good. I mean, his health is a major concern, and it's not just a 2023 conversation. His health and concussions will be a conversation for the rest of his career. But I was there when he put through 6 touchdowns on the Baltimore Ravens. So you've seen Tua, you see what this offense can be, and when he is healthy. So if he is healthy, the Dolphins have to be a scary team. They have to be scary, especially with the offseason additions that they've made. They've really bolstered that defense.
Mike T, I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, it's a big if. You know, Tua was hurt in college. He's been hurt in the NFL. And if there's a vulnerability on this very good Dolphin team, it's on their offensive line, similar to the Jets. So right tackle is going to be a big, big concern for them, especially in the preseason. Make sure that's solidified. And then if he could play 17 games, absolutely, they could be productive. But that's something that he struggled with going back to college.
Okay, we'll see what he can deliver this season and hopefully stay healthy.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.